All right. Let's go. Let's look at patch 3.13, guys. Okay, so things that have to get hit this patch. Have to go hit have to get hit this patch. Kaisa has to get hit. Bard has to get hit. Kaisa has to get hit. Thralls has to get hit. Kaisa has to get hit. I think those are like my main worries. As long as those get hit, how bad could it really be? How bad could it really be? Alrighty, card updates. Here's a look at each of the card updates coming in this patch. YouTube? Yeah, it's probably going to be on YouTube. Forgot Kaisa? Oh shit, yeah, no, Kaisa 2. Kaisa 2. Alawi, 1-6 to 1-5. 2-7 to 2-6. Okay, sure. Like, Alawi's been a part of Bard Alawi, which is obviously very strong right now. I think that's usually pretty strong because of Bard, though. That deck specifically. Alawi hasn't really found a lot of success outside of that. Like, Alawi, Ionia Alawi's okay, and it's seen a little bit of success on its own, but not recently. And I think that, like, the big thing that needs to get hit isn't Alawi, but her package. I think Alawi's package being so versatile is what makes it, you know, like a little bit OP. So I'm not crazy about her losing health, but at the same time, playing against Alawi, I'm not super upset with it either. You know, if she comes down so many times, I'm good. I'm good with her taking a nerf. It's cool. Tentacle Smash. So yeah, the big thing is that Tentacle Smash and Eye of Nakaboros have been splashed literally everywhere in literally every single deck. So I'm glad that they are seeing nerf. So spawn from 3 to 2. Tentacle Smash proved to be too strong, a universal removal tool for Bilgewater, especially against opponents' smaller champions. Dope, great. I think it's a great change. Yeah, absolutely. This means that, like, outside of Archetype, it's not going to see as much play. Like, Nami's going to be sad about losing this card because it was really nice in Nami. But overall, I think that it's a great change. I think it's a great change because, like, Tentacle Smash is still good in Alawi. Like, if you have an existing Tentacle, it's still a good card, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be like this, you know, just splashable everywhere type of card. So yeah, no, I love it. I love it. You don't think I got nerfed? It did not. Odds on them reverting or Alawi? Probably pretty low. Probably pretty low. Karma. Karma going from a 4-3 to a 4-4, 5-4 to a 5-5. I mean, her level 2 doesn't matter because, like, if they have Karma level 2, you probably lost the game already. We hope they jump from 3 to 4, especially on a 5 drop. It shifts how easy Karma is to remove and increases her currently low play rate. I mean, I think that, like, at least in this last patch, the main reason that Karma wasn't played is because the game has been ending very early. And, like, with a lot of the changes that they're making, I think that they are slowing down the game by 1 or 2 turns. So, like, that on its own probably would have, like, at least somewhat increased Karma's play rate. I personally am not the biggest fan of playing against Karma. I don't like playing Karma either. To be honest with you, I would be okay with Karma never, like, seeing major play, just because I think that she's incredibly annoying to play against. But I know a lot of people like her. A lot of people really like the power fantasy of just doubling all your spells. So I mean, is this buff gonna, like, you know, absolutely change her and, like, suddenly you're dropping Battle Karma on 5? Probably not, but I mean, you know, a little bit of help to her, like, Karma players will definitely enjoy that. Card generation on level 2 is so bad. It's just different. I don't think it's bad. I think it's different. Victor Karma wasn't a bad deck, but they nerfed Benemony. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Gnar. Create Pokestick, or if you have one, reduce its cost by 1, is now reducing its cost by 2. Small quality of life buff to Gnar, who soundly believes that poking should be free. I mean, based. Realistically, Gnar was seen, like, everywhere when he was a 4-3. This was mainly because he was just the only strong splashable champion that came out in his expansion. You know, he came out with, like, Udyr, who was just unplayable. So I think that the original nerf to Gnar was probably a little bit heavy. And I think giving him something back is, like, good. I don't know how often this matters. Like, sometimes getting a free Pokestick is nice. But also, usually you want to cast the Pokestick because you want to draw the card. So I don't know. Realistically, I don't think this is going to be that impactful. But as a Gnar fan, I'm down for any buffs. I'm down for any buffs. 4/3 Gnar isn't broken. Yeah, the original nerf that I wanted to Gnar was was that he should lose quick attack on Mega Gnar. Because I think that was like the main issue, and then he should just like heal when he levels down. But that isn't a thing anymore. Or that wasn't the direction they wanted to go with it. So here's what it is. Zilean's Careful Prep. Long time coming, but finally Zilean spell makes sense in Zilean deck. So it's no longer Chrono Shift. Chrono Shift was the 7 mana, put on champion, next time it dies, revive it, and then give it some stats. So now it is Careful Prep, which is a really interesting option. So the cool thing about this is if you're playing Zilean's Careful Prep, it means you've already played one Zilean. You have a Zilean on board, so you have time bombs that you can hit with Careful Prep, which is really nice. That's cool. Because in random decks, Careful Prep isn't a good champion spell. Because usually, if you don't hit like specifically Time Bomb, or with Echo, like Echo Rally or something like that, then you're just bricking yourself, right? Like you're losing a card in your hand, and then you're selecting a card that you don't really want, and you're making your top deck the same card. This card is really, you need to be very careful with your preparation when you're using the card. Because otherwise, if you end up picking something you don't want, then you brick yourself, and you can't skip on it, because if you skip on it, then you just lost 2 cards in your hand. So realistically, I think that this is probably a good change, but it's also one that you need to really be careful of. You need to really be careful of it. The Wandering Caretaker. Oh, also, Zilean's been good this entire fucking time as a champion. Zilean's really strong. He didn't need a buff, by the way. Just side note. Wandering Caretaker from Bard. Chimes don't start planting until you have 3+ mana gems. We're going to reduce the frustration of early turn chime high rolls. And high sides? I don't know what the fuck that means. I assume just, yeah. Yeah, just, chime high rolls. Whatever. Endpoint Bard more firmly towards a mid-range archetype. This feels like they watched my YouTube video about how I felt about Bard, and they very much specifically went about it how I wanted. This is great. This is genuinely great. I think that like turn 3 is specifically the change that I suggested for it. So I'm happy with it. I am really happy with it, frankly. Hopefully this means that Bard just won't be able to steamroll you early with just pure stats. Maybe later on he'll still be fine. I know that they're buffing Cosmic Binding, so it plants a couple more chimes in, which probably doesn't matter that much. But overall, great change. I'm excited for it. I love it. Love it. Won't be played anymore except for with Maokai. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around. Like, he probably doesn't hit tier 1 decks, but I would not be surprised if he ends up sticking around. But yeah. No, great changes. I love it. Yeah. Bard's a lot worse. And I'm happy for it. Kaisa. So second skin. Going from focus speed to slow speed. And then Supercharge going from 3 mana to 4 mana. The goal here is to increase opponent's ability to interact with Kaisa decks, as well as taking Kaisa's power down a peg. Thank God. Thank God. I hope that this basically kills the combo version of Kaisa that we're having to deal with right now. Because like with this going to slow speed, it's going to be so risky to ever cast this on Valor. Because if Valor could die in response to it, or lose its keywords or whatever. I think that this is like a massive change specifically to the combo version of Kaisa. Realistically, I think that Kaisa is still going to stick around. I think there's probably going to be like a very mid-range version of Kaisa that looks to lean into like Void Abomination, because that card is still broken, and the 4 mana 6/6 because that card is still broken. And Kaisa is probably still going to be around as likely a tier 1 deck. But hopefully this is enough of a change that like it slows her down and it feels better to play against her, and maybe you can actually run removal against her. Can also use it on Kaisa herself to prevent spell shield everywhere. Yeah, so the other thing is that Supercharge, with second skin going to slow speed, you can't really supercharge something and then copy it, because now your opponent can just like pop the spell shield. You aren't getting instant protection for your Kaisa. So Supercharge just became like a lot worse of an option. Not just on its own, but because of the way that second skin is working now, and you're not being able to get instant value on it, it's much worse. Which again, great change. I love that. Hopefully we can actually interact with Kaisa now. Hopefully, Copium. You only play this on big units, potentially. It's going to be like matchup dependent, right? Like if your opponent doesn't have interaction, you might still be able to get away with like Valor. But you know, against like P and Z, you aren't going to be able to. Against like Pokesticks, unless you have protection, you aren't really going to be able to, right? Even against Noxus, you're not going to be able to. So yeah, either way, I'm really excited for it.
Another one.
Why are there so many? Leovold with that 10 months? I say now as a Darkness pilot, you think the Catalyzer Revert was not what the deck needs or wants? I feel you, Leovold. Appreciate the sub, man. We'll get down to it. Supercharge isn't getting main decked anymore? Yeah. Alright. Hate Spike. Going from 2 mana to 1 mana. Small buff to Evelynn with likely some broader utility in Shadow Islands decks in general. So 1 mana, kill a unit to deal 2 to a unit, and summon a husk. I mean, Shadow Island. It's Shadow. Evelyn's trying to send you to fucking Shadow Island, bro. I don't know what it is. You're going to fucking Shadow Island. I don't know, man. I wish that they would have sent Kaisa to Shadow Island. I don't want to see her anymore. Oh, God. Yeah, no, this card's scary. This card's, like, really scary. Shadow Island just has Mystic Shot. Just, like, 1 mana Mystic Shot. It's interactable, of course. But the fact that, like, at the end of the Mystic Shot, it still summons a Husk, is kind of nice. Is kind of really sick. This card probably sees quite a bit of play. If there are like any mid-range SI decks that like have things that they're willing to get rid of, has units that they're willing to get rid of, and this is going to be great. Yeah, this card's kind of scary. I don't know if it's like broken. We'll see. I've never seen Hate Spike since like day 1 of last patch, so I don't know if it's like super broken. But sure. I've gone on record before saying that I hope that Evelynn's never playable. And I don't think that this changes much about Evelynn. But yeah. Wait, I'm waiting. Pard Maokai? Oh my god. Alrighty, Harsh Winds. 6 mana to 5 mana. Although this is technically a champion buff, the main goal here is to give players some better tools for interacting with huge units. Huh. Harsh Winds going to 5 mana is really scary. That's really scary. 1 card, freezing 2. Yeah, I don't know. That's really scary. This makes me think that stuff like FTR might be kind of fucking busted, especially since a lot of the decks that were pushing it out of the meta have gone away with Kaisa and Bard. So this is a really scary change. Really scary. I mean, surely, chat, in compensation, maybe another control tool has been nerfed, right? Maybe Ravine has been nerfed, and it'll be okay. Maybe Ravine has been nerfed, and any decks that want to run Harsh Winds, you know, maybe they got compensation nerfs. Clueless. Oh, Blight Ravine, chat? Okay. Wow, Blight Ravine, chat. I've gone on record saying that I have felt like Blight Ravine's one of like the 5 strongest cards in the entire game for a long time. So I felt like for a long time it needed to get nerfed. My opinion on Blight Ravine was that it was too good at what it did, clearing board and healing and making your opponent take a turn off in these combo mid-range, or these combo Freljord decks like FTR and like Thralls that are winning the game on turn 5, 6, and 7. So being able to make your opponent take a turn off and clear a board feels pretty strong. So let's go and take a look and see what the change is, because hopefully they changed it in such a way that that will no longer be the case. When I've summoned, heal 4. Okay, down to 2. Dope. So it's healing less. Countdown 1. Deal 2 to everything is now all units. Okay, yeah, no, that... Sure, yeah, okay. Small nerf to Ravine, retaining its board sweep, but losing the superfluous Nexus damage. Okay, so let me just repeat. What did I say? It did too well. I said that it healed you, and cleared the opponent's board, and made them take a turn off when you combo win on turns 5, 6, and 7. So did any of that change? No, it's the exact same card. It's literally the exact same card, except it doesn't burn now. Which, you know what? I'm down to remove the burn, because the burn matters. In Thralls cares about the burn. Thralls definitely cared about the burn, chat. Because Thralls a lot of times would burn you out from like 5 or 4 with Ravine plus Ice Shards. So this does hit Thralls. It hits literally no other Ravine deck in the entire fucking game, because it does the exact same thing that it did before, except now it just doesn't burn. As far as like Blight Ravine nerfs go, I'm happy to see the nerf. I'm glad to see that it's losing like a little bit of its extra power that feels kind of tacked on. But at the same time, I don't think this changes anything. I really don't think this changes anything about the card. This change might as well not have happened. But, you know, maybe chat, I mean, Thralls is a pretty strong deck. I know that I said that Thralls is, you know, very strong, especially with 2 of its biggest counters getting nerfed out of the meta. Surely with this, there will be another nerf to Thralls to, like, really keep it, you know, down. You know, I'm sure. Let's just take a look. Frozen Thrall. Okay, this is a good change. That's a good change. Maybe it could be slightly less lethal. Maybe a little bit more interactable. Countdown going from 8 to 9. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Preemptive nerf to Thrall, since we're nerfing some of its main predators. True. And not looking at catapult it back to dominance. Based. Should mitigate some of the early turn high sides that players found frustrating. So I feel like most of the times when Thralls is popping down its Thrall, you know, especially with Sands of Time in the game, it's a lot of times overshooting the mark. This is definitely going to impact some hands, right? This is definitely going to impact some hands where, you know, you were playing the 1 mana take everything down by 1 to burst out like 2 or 3 Thralls. And if those types of hands are getting hit, you know, maybe this deck is slowed down by like half a turn. Maybe it matters. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that this matters that much. I don't think that this kills Thralls. I think that like the fundamentally broken things that Thralls is doing like still exists. Half a turn, yeah, so like on average half a turn, right? So like some games it's not going to matter, and some games it will slow it down like a turn, right? So that's half a turn, you know. I nerfed the land market, not the Thrall, because they still want the payoff to be good, right? They still want the payoff to be these big 8/8 overwhelms that swing in and deal a shitload of damage, because that's like the whole idea of the deck. You know, that's the big payoff. That's what everyone wants. But yeah, I feel like this probably doesn't change much. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like this probably doesn't change much. Hey, but you know what? Any nerf to Thralls is a fucking godsend. I love nerfs to Thralls. I'm all about nerfs to Thralls. Keep them coming. You can lie to us instead. Tell us it's going to be okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me try again. Okay. Oh, I sure do hope that Thralls gets nerfed. That deck's really good, and all of its counters are getting nerfed, so, you know, hopefully. Okay, Frozen Thrall. Countdown 8 to 9. 9? Poggies? Okay, chat, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. This means that they can't kill you anymore, guys. They just... Oh my god, this is actively slowing them down. I don't think Thralls is playable anymore. I think it's probably a dead deck. Thank God it's a dead deck. Somebody make sure to send some flowers to Cameron Hanzo. Make sure that he's doing all right, because his baby just got murdered. Thank you, Rito. Love you, bud. Shout outs. Was that better, Raul? Was that better? All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, chat. Boom Baboon going from a 3/1 to a 2/1. We've talked about Boom Baboon a lot in the past. Boom Baboon's been a very strong 2-drop for a long time. It just because like it has pretty solid stats and generating the chompers for discard fodder, which is really good. I know that my suggested nerf from a long time ago, and the one I sort of carried along, is 0/1 chompers. That way you can't get double pulls with them. You know, it's a little bit more all in when you're trying to push the damage, but you can still push damage. Making it from 3/1 to 2/1 is kind of depressing. I like this card a lot. I think that this card got a lot worse. So I'm not crazy about it, but the card probably needed to change. Now it's the death. Jesus Christ, bro. Yeah. Station Archivist. Pick a card, or pick a spell. I'm sorry. Pick a spell into the top 5 cards of your deck. And create... Pick a spell into the top 5 cards. Pick a spell into the... Chat, am I having a fucking aneurysm? Is this how it's actually worded in-game? No fucking way, right? No fucking way that's actually how it's worded in-game. Pick a spell in the top 5. Pick a spell into... Okay. Okay, I'm fine, chat. I see, it was a typo. I was so fucking... Yeah, pick a spell into Shadow Island. Pick a spell into Shadow Island. Oh my god. So when you pick a spell, it now shuffles. It no longer shows you the order, right? That's what it's saying. Yeah. So it shuffles your deck, which is cool. Realistically, they also made this a 3/2. Realistically, Archivist wasn't seeing play. Archivist was seeing play in like one deck, and it's the Infinite deck. And this feels like a very targeted nerf towards Infinite. I don't think that Archivist necessarily deserved a stat nerf. That feels really random. But, you know, with Infinite on the rise, I'm down for this nerf. I think this nerf is great. Although, you know, you could have... I don't want to ruin it, but you could have hit 2 birds with 1 stone, made Infinite completely unplayable, and hit our friend Thralls by hitting Sands of Time. You could have, you know, maybe hit Sands of Time. Sands of Time's kind of a really good card. Maybe you could make that 7 mana, 8 mana, 9 mana. I think that could have been a cool change. But yeah, no, I don't think Archivist deserved the stat change, but overall, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Both Baboon and Archivist add cards to hand without a suitable tax on their stats, and are overrepresented in the meta as well. How far do we have to scroll to find an Archivist deck, chat? How far do we have to scroll to find an Archivist deck? I mean, surely it's in this deck. No. How far am I going to scroll here? Okay, the Auction Infinite, the 36% win rate, chat. The 36% win rate, Auction Infinite, does run Archivist. Okay, but beyond 36% win rate, Auction Infinite, if we were to find another deck... Okay, Echo Zilean. Oh, Echo Zilean was out here abusing it. Oh, true. Yo, my bad. I'm sorry for doubting. I'm sorry for doubting you on this, because Echo Zilean was absolutely just abusing this card, you know? Golly, I can you believe for a second that Echo Zilean would be out here ruining Station Archivist for everybody? Golly. Okay, there we go, chat. Number 38. Number 38 gives us the first deck. All right. Yeah, no, I think overrepresented in the meta. Definitely talks about Boom Baboon. Does not represent Station Archivist at all. At all. Archivist ability is stacked at the top of the deck. What's also contributing to some frustrating non-interactive combos. So yeah, they're just calling out the Infinite. Yeah, I agree. Overall, I think that like the text change is good. I don't like the stat change. It is what it is. Copying Chrono Break is not fair. It does abuse it, though. It's Echo Zilean, homie. It's Echo Zilean. Come on. But yeah. Ravenbloom Conservatory. Countdown 10 to countdown 12. Increasing Conservatory's countdown should mitigate early high sides. They keep saying high sides. I don't like this term because it's not very clear. Realistically, I think Ravenbloom was like pretty balanced. I don't know if it needed a nerf. Considering they're hitting like everything else in like the tier 1, I understand why they would nerf this card. My suggestion was to nerf Tibulk instead. You know, instead of having 6 attack in its base form, it should have 5. Then, you know, when it's buffed up, it'll be a 6 mana 6/6. Because it buffs itself, obviously. Just pushes a little bit less damage. But yeah, overall, it's okay. It was just too easy to consistently level it in hand. It was just too easy to consistent. I don't think this is true. I don't think that this happened at all. Too easy to level it in hand. Like, when are we leveling it in hand? Like, yeah, if I draw it on like turn 12, or if I played a Riptide Rex, or if I had Jhin in my deck, but otherwise, I'm not leveling this shit in hand. Like, sometimes it'll tick down like 5 or something, and I'll play it on like turn 6. But I don't think this is true. I don't think this is true. But again, I think that like it's fine to hit this card because everything else in the tier 1 got hit. I'm not too upset with it. Googling high sides just gets ad for litter boxes. Based. Cadragon the Ruined. Grants an ally champion or dragon challenger to grant an ally challenger and +1/+1. 6 mana 6/6. Okay. Cadragon was too narrow to see much play, and the effect was slightly weak for a 6-drop. Hoping this bump should make him an interesting candidate for inclusion in Dragon and other decks. This is a good buff, but like the issue is, in Demacia, you're competing against really good 6-drops, right? So you're competing against Genevieve. Is this better in Genevieve? Probably not. Probably not most of the time. You know, is this better than Cythria? I don't know. Is this better than Yordle Scout? I don't know. I think it's a cool change. I think it's definitely a buff, of course. And maybe it can see play. I would kind of like to see this effect on like a 5-drop. I think that would fit a lot more curves better and be a little bit more interesting. But this is a good buff, and maybe it sees play. Maybe it sees play. But yeah, doesn't too narrow read weird? I mean, they're just saying like its play was too narrow, right? Or like its effect was too narrow. You know, it only affected very specific, you know, champions or dragons, which, you know, but yeah. Renekton follower? Oh, Cadragon? Chat the Renekton, the Croc plus the dragon? Okay. Alright, Mark of the Storm. Grant an enemy Mark of the Storm. If they already have it, remove this mark to stun and deal 3. This and a number of subsequent changes are aimed at revitalizing Bandle City's attractiveness as a recall region. Okay. So this Kennen's issues right now as a deck is that Kennen very much Kennen is kind of tied to Mono Ionia because you need consistency and you need to consistently find Kennen and then play multiple Kennens to level him. That's usually going to be like the most consistent way to flip him. And if we're trying to make it a Bandle City deck, I don't know how consistently Kennen's flipping. We'd have to see. But, I mean, a Kennen buff is a Kennen buff, and sure. When you draw Kennen early, like, a lot of the Kennen decks still do Kennen things. And Kennen's not, like, a weak card. But, yeah, okay, sure. It's fine. How exactly is Bandle City a recall region? I mean, they have, like, 3 recall cards. And then they have all of Kennen's support that we're going to get to that are all recall support. So, that's the idea, at least. Starbone. If you behold the messenger, grant Celestials allies everywhere +1/+1. 2. If you behold a Celestial instead of just a messenger, create the messenger in your deck and grant Celestial allies everywhere +1/+1. Dope. Honestly, this card's like fine, right? This card's like playable. This card's like almost playable, right? It's like like, okay, so Celestial Allies everywhere getting +1/+1, means that, like, your Golden Sisters are, like, 5/4s. You know, your Travelers a 5/5. You know, if you draw the Messenger, you're happy because it's a 2-mana 3/3 draw card. Honestly, this isn't terrible. Honestly, this card might be playable. It might literally be playable. This is the chat. This is Serpent. Serpent got unnerfed, guys. Serpent got unnerfed. Honestly, I don't think this card's bad. Okay, honestly though, what I would prefer. Okay, this card would literally be so much better if instead of it saying create the messenger in your deck, if it said draw a card. If it said grant celestial allies everywhere +1/+1 and draw a card, this card would be like really fucking good and like playable. Like creating the doggo in your deck, like what are the chances of you actually finding it, right? If you do find it, it's good. But yeah, no, I think this is a good deck. It's a good card. Like this card might see play. It might genuinely see play. Copium. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't think it's that bad. Why not in hand? This would probably be like really good. But yeah, no idea. Doggy's required though? No. So now it's just if you behold a celestial. So yeah, no, honestly, I think this is like a pretty significant buff. But yeah. Bloody Business. An ally with 5+ power strikes an enemy to reputation. I cost 2. An ally with 5+ power strikes an enemy. You should get more for jumping through reputation's hoop. And hopefully this coupled with some of our more recent changes will make the deck genuinely exciting to play. 2-mana strike spell is fucking scary. Like 2-mana strike spell is really scary. If there's like a reputation shell that wants to play this card, you're really happy for this. It's like the 20th rep buff. Agreed. Definitely. I mean, Kakibaki and EU topped the last seasonals with like a Renekton LeBlanc Sivir deck, if I remember correctly, which was just, you know, like reputation. So like, I mean, we've been playing LeBard all season. LeBard is losing Bard, of course, but like these rep cards aren't that bad and aren't that far off from being good. And like 2-mana one-sided strike could be really good. It could be really good. Yeah, this is a scary buff. This is a really scary buff. Potentially could be good. When was the last patch that reputation wasn't buffed? Hey, they want reputation playable, man. What's wrong with that? Star shaping. So my hot take for a long time, for like literally months, has been star shaping in the game right now is just a bad card. It's just way too fucking slow. Celestial Trifecta is everything that it wants to be and so much better. Star shaping is literally a bad card. So a buff, excited to see it. Let's see what it is. Invoke a celestial card that costs 7 or more. That's the same. Then heal an ally or your nexus 4 to 5. So this was the original change that sort of like pushed Star Shaping out of the meta, but other things sort of pushed Star Shaping out of the meta at the same time, right? Heal 5 is good because like against aggro decks, you know, you're beating Decimate now, right? Like this is more efficient than Decimate. It's the Decimate +1 card, right? Which means that like against aggro, you're definitely at least slightly better. That definitely can matter. Is this going to be enough? I don't know if this change on its own would be enough to bring Star Shaping back, because the thing is, Celestial Trifecta is just so much better. Celestial Trifecta is draw 3. It instantly activates your Cosmic Inspirations. It instantly activates like your Supernovas. And like a lot of times when you play it, you can immediately follow it up by playing out, you know, like the 4/1 or a Serpent or something like that, right? Like you're usually getting a play along with your win condition. Whereas this card, you play it, you get the heal, and then you're done for the turn. I think this is a good buff. I don't know how impactful it is. If it does come back, it's not because of this buff, and it's because the meta slowed down. But yeah. Aggro? I mean, Ravine got nerfed, bro. Ravine got nerfed. Aggro's coming back. Surely there's not a aggro nerf in here. Surely we wouldn't find an aggro nerf later on when aggro's unplayable right now. Surely. Sorry, is it fun when I talk about the changes that we haven't seen yet, or no, chat? if it's ruining it for you, I'm sorry. Thunderfist. Base stats 2/3 to 3/3. Massa Crashing Thunder from a 5/4 to 5/5. So if you play another, like after you play the first Thunderfist, any Thunderfist you play turn into Massa, which are then 3 mana 5/5 impacts. Which could be cool. It could be cool. You know, you play this card and then you retreat and return him, and then he's a 5/5. With like iterative improvement, you can just like keep slamming him down, and I don't know. The stats are big. The stats are big, and impact isn't a bad keyword. Maybe we could see like a mid-range bilge card or mid-range bilge deck. I'm sorry, I'm saying bilge. I mean Bandle. But like Bandle bilge could be where it's at. It could be, you know, like Pink City version 2.0. This could be okay. I don't hate this change, and this card might be close to playable because like 3 mana 3/3 with impact that has upside is like a fine card on its own. It's like literally a fine card. But yeah, no, I dig it. Just a worse Yeti or something? Well, I mean, Yetis are terrible, so I don't know if that's true. The on board doesn't transform? No, it does not. It's ones that you play out afterwards. Bilge Island? Yeah, Bilge Island is next to Shadow Island. Risu, the Silent Storm, from a 1/1 to a 1/3, and then when Risu is summoned, it summons Storm Cloud. So Storm Cloud is going from Impact 1 to Impact 3, which Impact 3 is a lot. That is a lot. Like, that slaps. That's a lot of damage. This is like a pretty significant buff. You know, maybe we can play Bandle timelines, maybe like with timelines and like Nakatalk. You know, you could really like stack up impact, and maybe you'll be good. Maybe you'll be all right. Because like changing your 1/1 into like a real card could be solid. 7/3 stat line. Well, I mean, yeah, the thing is it's always getting chumped, so like now with higher impact, like it actually has impact, right? Yeah, I think it could be cool. You hate timelines? Same honestly. People were talking about this plus Absolver, but why? maybe. But yeah, no, I think that like this is a solid buff and could be pretty good. All these changes are aimed at amping the Bandle City recall package. This and some of the buffs that follow are aimed at giving players more options for brewing with Bandle and encouraging some new decks. Hey, I love Bandle. I'm down for it. Let's go. Dust Petal Dust. Quality of life buff for Nightfall, removing a long-standing frustration for players. The next unit with Nightfall you play this round costs 1 less. 2. The next card with Nightfall, it's a typo. The next card with Nightfall you play this round costs 1 less. So like your Unspeakable Horrors, your Pale Cascades, your Unto Dust, they're a little bit, you know, they get made cheaper as well, which is like a solid Nightfall buff. This is solid. You're gonna use this to like activate Pale more than you did before. Yeah, I dig it. It's good. Good change. Stagehand. Okay, so Stagehand is one of the main reasons that like Anti-Djinn is good. Because like just stacking multiple stuns in one turn, it's really big and hard to deal with. You can't shoot it, you can't avalanche it. So you know, Stagehand's a really strong card. So it'll be interesting to see what they want to do to it. Stagehand, 4 mana. It's a 2 mana 4/4 to a 2 mana 4/2. In this patch, we're moving a lot of cards in and out of different tiers of interactability. Ephemeral makes the Stagehand enough of a poor target for interaction that it has no need for 4 health. Editor's note, Djinn is the only one allowed to be perfect. Okay, so it can't be a 4/4. Okay. Realistically, I think this is probably a solid change. I think this is probably good. I know that it's nerfing aggro in like, you know, a world where aggro isn't really playable. But I'm down for you to be able to like Mystic Shot this, or it to die to Avalanche, or there to be like more interaction for this. I think it's a good change. I dig it. I think it's good. It's much worse Fervor Target. Yeah, for sure. It's a lot more interactable in that regard, and you can't like Fervor and get the hit off. Is it sarcasm? Is what sarcasm? I genuinely think that it's probably an okay change, because I think Stagehand was like a really fucking strong card. So I do think it's probably a solid change. But yeah, again, like it is hitting like an aggro deck that, you know, when aggro isn't good, but like I still think that the nerf makes sense, and I think it's fine. But yeah. Defiant Dance. Going from cost 4 to cost 5. So let's talk about Azir Irelia. Azir Irelia, for some reason, when Evelyn followers were printed, there was this weird little card. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Called, oh damn, there's so many DOMs. Domination, chat. And Domination, you know, the cool thing that I like about these Runeterra champions is that when they print the cards, because they're, you know, printing Husk, they can go into, you know, any Evelyn deck no matter what. You get to put them in any region you want. Any region, you know? So when we're talking about putting in a card like this, you know, okay, so what's its effect? When you summon a 1-cost ally, grant it +1 attack. Ooh, okay, that's kind of cool. Maybe you could, like... Maybe you could put it in, you know, some regions that have 1-cost synergy. Maybe you could put in, like, Bilgewater. Ooh, this would be, like, a pretty cool Bilgewater card. Oh. Wait, why did this card get put in fucking Shurima? Did they really need copies 4, 5, and 6 of Azir? It's... you know, I sometimes wonder if Riot really likes Shurima. Like, really like Shurima. Because it's crazy that card got printed in Azir Irelia. So Azir Irelia ends up getting that. It appreciates it. It also was pretty favored in the meta because it was like pretty solid into Kaisa and it was beating like Thralls. So I do think that Azir Irelia probably deserved a nerf. Especially with other decks getting nerfed. I'm down for it. Defiant Dance going from 4 to 5 matters a lot because a lot of the mid-range decks that are beating or that are losing to Azir Irelia right now are because they want to play like 4 or 5 mana units, and you can't play a 4 or 5 mana unit against Azir Irelia without instantly losing the game because of Defiant Dance. So this is like definitely one of the major power points. And Azir Irelia is very tight on mana from like turns 3 to like 5 or 6. So 1 mana matters a lot. I think this is a great change. I love this change. Is this enough to kill Azir Irelia? No, not at all. But I do think it's a good change. So yeah. Right. Traveler chat. Traveler is going from a 3/4 to a 4/4. 3/4 to a 4/4. So upping power here should make it a more attractive invoke choice. I think it's really interesting because once upon a time, the Traveler was considered to be like really strong, like have a really big body for its cost. Like a 4-mana 3/4 that generated a card was like really strong. Since then, you know, less so. These invoke Targon piles have kind of died out, so I think that like buffs to them combined with like star shaping and the game slowing down a little bit is probably good. You know, you can curve like Priestess into this, which could be really strong. I think it's a good change. I dig it. Squeaker going from a 1/2 to a 2/2. So keep in mind that like a month and a half ago, this card was a 1/1. Metal. I mean, that failure definitely deserves a timeout. I'm sorry, buddy. That was awful. That was awful. That was genuinely miserable. That absolutely deserves a timeout. I'm sorry, bud. When you fail that badly, I just can't. Squeaker going to a 2/2. Rumors that Squeaker has a blackmail portfolio for every designer are completely and totally unfounded. Errors note, okay, we did it. Again, don't be a squealer, Squeaker. No one likes a squealer. I think this card was like probably playable. I think like as a 2/2 with Augment, like this thing's gonna get pretty big. The Mecha Yordles can, like the Mecha Yordles are strong. And if you can like get a good curve out, I dig it. Honestly, I think it's a good change and I'm excited for it. I will definitely try and brew Squeaker decks because I think it's a good change. It's a really good change. Oh yeah, Boom Baboon got nerfed, huh? Boom Baboon was definitely a part of the decks that you expected. Like the Squeaker decks probably wanted Boom Baboon, so Boom Baboon nerf kind of feels bad. But we'll see, I guess. Banalsay Mayor, 2/2 to a 2/3. Testing this initially brought a lot of apprehension to the team, but afterwards we felt that the meta was in a position to handle an enhanced Mayor. So I think that last patch, Mayor was really slow. And because of how slow Mayor was like really hard to justify playing. He wasn't generating enough tempo back. But assumedly with the game slowing down at least a little bit this patch, this could be a scary change. Mayor having 3 health means that he blocks better. He's no longer dying to Mystic Shot. Your options to remove him on curve are much more limited. I mean, this could be a scary change. Keep in mind, a lot of the Mayor decks of past, you know, the old Yordlin Arms, Demacia deck, Tree, stuff like that has been nerfed pretty significantly. So Mayor isn't, you know, quite enabling the win conditions of old, but this is probably a solid change, and maybe we'll see more mid-range Vandal come out. But yeah. Ancient Hourglass. From 2 mana to 3 mana. Shroom is not intended to be the premier unit protection region. It was time for a change. Shurima was not intended to be the premier unit protection region. I think it's a great change. I think this is absolutely a great change. I think that Ancient Hourglass has been a very strong card for a long time. I talked for quite a while about how Shurima has this issue of really strong champions that are really sturdy, you know, like Azir, Xerath, Ziggs, I was going to say Viego because Viego spends so much time there, but, you know, Kaisa, all these really strong, sturdy champions that must be answered, like, basically on site. And if they're allowed to stick around, you basically lose the game. So Hourglass, like, they were forcing interaction, but also punishing you for trying to interact. I think the Ancient Hourglass nerf had a long time coming, and I love it. I'm glad that this got nerfed. And surely Riot would never print any other unit protection in Shurima, right? Because it's not meant to be the unit protection region. Surely not. Neverglade Collector from a 2-4 to a 2-5 chat. 2-5 Neverglade Collector. I think Neverglade Collector is a it's kind of a scary card. Like, when it comes down and it sticks, it can be really scary and can kind of, like, blow you out. It does a lot of damage, and the fact that it's Drain can make it really hard to actually end up chasing. Or not chasing, but racing. It does cost 5 mana, so it's a little bit slow. So, I'm glad that it costs 5 mana, by the way. If this thing got buffed and to, like, 4 mana, it would probably be just absolutely meta-warping, and I don't really want this card to be meta-warping. But yeah, no, and this is a buff to it. It's definitely harder to deal with. I hope it stays in fringe play, though, to be honest. I hope it stays in fringe play. Winding Light. Winding Light has been a very strong card for a very long time. It's sort of been like the premier game ender. Especially, like, its main issue is that this number right here is a lie. And 90% of the time, Winding Light does not cost 7 mana. And when it does cost 7 mana, you know, that's an outlier. So, changes to it. Overwhelm, it no longer has Overwhelm. Okay, dope. This matters a lot in a lot of the Winding Light decks. A lot of the Winding Light decks are like burn decks, like the PNZ Aphelios, and you're losing like 4 to 5 damage on your Winding Light turns, which is significant. That's definitely significant. Will this kill the deck? Combined with the Boom Baboon nerf, potentially? There will still be a really good Aphelios deck out there somewhere. I'm sure that Winding Light will probably still see some amount of play, because the card still pushes a lot of damage. But we'll have to see, because this is a significant nerf. A justified one, but still a significant nerf. Would just be Aphelios Victor mid-range, we cut Winding Light? Potentially. I could see you. I could see that. I do think that Winding Light will still see play somewhere else, though. Potentially. But yeah. Papercraft Dragon, from cost 5 to cost 6. We'll tap the brakes on Papercraft. OTKs with this one. Great. Yeah, absolutely. Papercraft Dragon was an issue. I know we haven't seen it in a little bit, but it took over a full season. You know, Fizz Riven has been sort of lying in the wake here. This basically kills Fizz Riven, I think. You know, maybe another Riven deck can come up, but Fizz Papercraft was one of the main reasons that deck was so strong, as well as Papercraft going on, you know, like any Overwhelm units. So I think this kills Fizz Riven. I'm not upset with that. 6 unit mana suddenly makes this like a massive commitment to put down on the board. I think it's a great change. I think that this is absolutely a great change. Yeah, I love it. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Now, chat, we do need to talk though, because once upon a time, there was a little card called Renekton, chat, Mr. Croc himself. And if you don't know, Renekton, maybe had a really low win rate. And then we potentially found a pretty okay Renekton deck called Yep Croc, which was Bard Renekton, which may or may not have inadvertently killed some Renekton buffs. So that happened. And then we're like, okay, that deck is falling to the wayside. And then the next Yep Croc, which was Papercraft, came out of the gates and, maybe won as seasonals. And now that one's getting nerfed as well, chat. So all I'm saying then is that potentially, chat, maybe we can see some Renekton buffs in the future. Please, Ruben, maybe, buddy, pal, come on. But yeah, no, I think it's a good change. Battle Bonds. From 4 mana to 5 mana, slow speed to burst speed. So it's now burst speed granting 2 allies +2/+2. That's a lot of stats. It'll probably at least try to get played. I don't know if it's like super good. But like grant +2/+2 to 2 allies. That's a lot of stats. We'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see. I don't know. I could definitely see it seeing play. I could also see it seeing 0 play. I assume people will try it out and we'll find out where it stands in a week. But yeah. Benemony from a 4/3 to a 4/4, trying to open up more playable options for Bandle City. Dope. 4/4s are nice in these types of decks because, for the same reason, like Practical Imperfectionist, which is the 4 mana 4/4 that copies cards in your hand, that you see in like the Zilean Time Bomb deck. It's really nice in that deck because a lot of Shurima units are like 1/3s or 2/3s or 1/4s, and they don't trade very well. They don't have real stats, and against some decks, if you aren't able to trade down board, you just constantly fall behind and it feels terrible. So having big bodies in your deck can make a difference because, Bandle City also sometimes has issues actually trading down board. So I could see Benemony seeing like a small amount of play. Maybe we'll have to see. A buff's a buff, and I'll at least try it. Scar Maiden Reaver, bringing 4/5 to a 4/6. That's Trundle stats. I don't know if more health is what this card needed. It certainly is a card. That is for certain. Yeah. Twisted Catalyzer. My heart, chat. My heart. I'm not gonna lie. I scrolled down too fast, and I read this as a 2/3. I was about to blow a fucking gasket. Oh my god. I was about to lose my shit. Whew. Okay, so it's from a 2/2 to a 3/2. Reverting Catalyzer to give Darkness Stands a better chance in what has proven to be a very difficult meta for them. Darkness loves pain. So the last time that Darkness was meta was before this change, and then they changed it, and then Darkness stopped seeing play. I don't think that this change impacted Darkness that much, to be honest. There definitely have been situations where, it's no longer a Fearsome Blocker, it's no longer trading into stuff. But I don't know if this is like the biggest change on the planet, but I'll be honest with you, I fucking hate Darkness. And I fucking hate Twisted Catalyzer. And like the rolls with this card, oh my god, just lead to the most cringe, obnoxious games of my life. I would be happy if Darkness was literally never seen again, ever. Frankly, that would be a good thing, in my mind. So when we're talking about Catalyzer getting changed, I don't think this is the most impactful thing on the planet, but because I hate Darkness, I hate this change. So, it is what it is. Same. Honestly, I don't know if you guys saw it, but somebody did let me see if I can find it. Somebody tweeted about how, they want everybody to tweet what their least favorite decks to play against are. Let me see if I can find it. Because it was actually really interesting to read through. Give me a second, chat. Editor, cut this out. Here it is. All right, so there's a Twitter thread where it says, fellow Twitter LOR enthusiasts, what are your 3 most painful decks to play versus? Not in terms of how strong they are, just on how the compulsion to instantly close the app at match up screen is. So they said Darkness Peak and J Shadow as control. I'm not gonna lie, my initial response was instantly Darkness Tree Peak. That's it. But then I was like, oh, but nobody else is actually gonna pick these. People don't actually hate playing against these decks as much as I do. So yeah. So I posted it, and then, you know, I looked through, and, you know, only one other person had put Shellfolk in there so far. So I was like, people don't actually hate Shellfolk. But then I started scrolling, chat. And when we scroll now, there's a lot of people who list Darkness. There's an awful lot of Darkness. There's a lot of Darkness. People fucking hate playing against Darkness. And frankly, it's based as hell, chat. I am so glad that other people hate playing against Darkness, because I cannot stand playing against this deck. So I would hope that Riot maybe pays attention to this thread, and, you know, maybe we just stop buffing Darkness. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah. Yeah, that's the patch. We're going to talk about cosmetics here in a second. Overall, on the changes, I think they're good. I think they're good. I would have liked a real Ravine nerf. I would have liked a real Thrall's nerf. I'm worried the FTR is going to be like tier 1. Kaisa's probably still going to be like super playable, but hopefully more interactable. Overall, I think the changes are good. Personalization. Take a look at this shiny board and card back and icon that will be awarded to winners of the upcoming seasonal tournaments. Winners, assumedly, this just means to the champions. And that's a sexy fucking board. That is a goddamn sexy board. Whew. That's a pretty good card back. And that's a cool icon. I think it's cool as hell. I think it's actually cool as hell. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great that they're, you know, putting out these types of cosmetics to, you know, reward people who are competing at the highest level. And I love it. It says competitor. I know it says competitor under the card back, but also says winner up here. I'm reading the same stuff you are, so I think it's winner, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I think this is great. I love that they're printing these. I love it. Bug fixes. Where are the actual impactful ones? It's Shen, Kinku Student, and Void Abomination will now interact with allies as intended. So this assumedly means that barriers in hand won't impact stuff on board anymore. Assumedly? It's not very clear. It's really not very clear. So hopefully this is a quality bug fix. I don't know. I actually don't know. Read the other one? Yeah, they didn't put them in the AI deck. The other one updated several cards that were missing card text. So this is another one that it doesn't say what the change is. So like, does this include Powder Pandemonium, which right now is putting out an extra monkey, and it doesn't say that in the card text? Is that getting changed? How about the Ashali? That one got fixed over a month ago, Metal. Come on. But yeah, no, it's very unclear. It's very unclear what these actually mean. Hopefully those bugs got addressed. We'll see. Gwen not listing a skill icon? What? I don't know what that means. Yeah. But yeah, no, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I think the changes overall are good. Yeah, I'm just excited to like maybe not have to run to Kaisa every single day anymore. That would make me happy if I can just interact with it just a little bit. Isn't a skill icon though in the text? I genuinely don't care that much about that sort of stuff. But I mean, if they fix it so it's more consistent, dope. Either way, let me know what your guys' favorite changes are. What are you most excited to play? Yeah, appreciate you tuning in. Like, follow, subscribe, all that shit. Yeah.